2025 marks the facelift for the current generation Ford Explorer.
So I've taken this week to explore this Ford.
That was terrible. We got to cut that out. The Explorer sells like hotcakes for Ford, and it remained largely the same. Hey, if it ain't broke. The powertrain remains the same with a 2.3-liter Ecoboost engine. That's a turbocharged 4-cylinder being your standard, but you do have the option of going up to a V6, same as you did last year. This one here makes 300 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, with the V6 adding an extra 100 horses and 105 pound-feet. Either way, you get a 10-speed automatic transmission and the choice between rear-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. This particular one is driven by all four wheels, which puts its fuel economy rating at 20 miles per gallon city, 27 highway, and a combined of 23, which isn't quite what I've been getting. I've been averaging just about 20 miles per gallon. On the outside, we've got a new grille, some tweaks to the headlights and taillights, and now you can get a black roof. The grille is going to be unique to the trim level, and note that the number of trim levels has been cut in half for this year. Now you've got the Active, the ST line, the Platinum, and the ST. This particular one is the Platinum, starting at 54 grand, and this particular car is bumped up to 58 grand with options. If that's a bit too rich for your blood, the Active starts right around 40,000. Notable features unique to the Platinum include adaptive headlights, power folding mirrors with auto dimming on the driver's side, and black cladding with satin aluminum trim. Other notable features that are standard on the Platinum but available on other trim levels are LED fog lights, a 360 camera, front parking sensors, and remote start right here on the key fob. Love to see it in here and not buried in the app. Features standard on the exterior of all Explorers include LED headlights, LED taillights, roof rails, keyless touch to lock and unlock on all four doors, rear parking sensors, a Class 3 towing pack, and a power liftgate. It opens up into some pretty decent space for a 3-row that's under 200 inches long. There's also a little bit of extra space underneath the floor. There's a 12-volt over here, some nifty buttons to drop down the third row. No buttons to drop down the second row. That'd be nice to see as some of the competition is starting to add that, but still pretty handy to be able to knock down this third row without yanking on it. Before we jump inside, I have to mention the wheels. You get 20s to start, though there are some 21s available as well. But it appears that these 20s have already been discontinued, or at least I can't seem to find them on the configurator. Luckily, the other wheel options are better anyway. But either way, you're going to be wrapped in a respectable Primacy Tour all season. The inside of the Explorer is pretty luxe, especially with the aptly named Luxe package. Plus, they put the word Platinum on the back, so it should be pretty luxe, right? That pack gives you the quilted look on the seats and the doors with this light gray leather and the captain's chairs. If you want black leather or bench seats, well, you're getting both. But if you're cool with synthetic leather, you can get Ford's Black Active X material with captain's chairs in the ST and ST line. These seats are heated. I've got a mat pocket, my own climate control, some USB-Cs, and a 110. Cup holders are down here. Those used to be in the center console between the captain's chairs and the older Explorers, but now they're down here in this console. Got a blinder here to block the world out, big sunroof to let the sun in. There are certainly worse places to be, like back here in the third row. Oftentimes in this segment, this third row is much better suited for small kids or for pets. That's even more true here because there is a raised floor, so you're doing a little bit of extra knee eating if you are a grown adult or a tall teenager. Luckily, Ford hasn't gone with the coupe shape, so you still have a little bit of vertical space here overhead, just not exactly the most comfortable place to be for a long time. The front gets quite a bit more space, and these seats are pretty comfortable. 8-way power adjustability with memory settings, heat, ventilation, and massage. Though I'm not sure if the motor's just loud or if it's dying. Either way, not a great look for a car with only 4,600 miles on it, even if they are hard miles. but not enough to deter me from using it, especially after shoveling all the snow and ice we just got. The ambient lighting looks great, especially on this quilted leather. Got a few different color options you can choose from there. The large 13.2-inch infotainment works nicely. Not the biggest fan of this tacked on look, but I'm glad that they didn't go with the giant double screens that's become an epidemic in automotive, so I'll take this over that. It works quickly. It's got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay both wireless through here. That's not just for the Platinum, that's for all the trim. Ford has also added the Ford Digital Experience to all Explorers, which allows you to watch YouTube when you're parked, download apps, and play games. They even have a Ford exclusive version of Asphalt Nitro 2, BYO Bluetooth controller, BYOBC. Now, I wish the HVAC wasn't buried in here, but at least it is always available down at the bottom. That does include your heated and ventilated seat controls and your heated steering wheel. Music from here comes from a great 14-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. Interestingly, you can get B&O with fewer speakers on some of the other trim levels. The fully digital gauge cluster has a few pieces of info you can cycle through, and I appreciate the calm mode. It's easy to navigate with the steering wheel buttons, though I've had some issues with one of these switches this week. Maybe I just have weak thumbs. Up above the cluster, surprisingly no heads-up display available, but you do have the garage door openers, the auto-dimming mirror, and a spot to put your sunglasses. But my favorite part of the interior is the Easter eggs. I love it when automakers add this kind of stuff in. Just inside the driver's side door, we've got the Detroit skyline as a nod to Ford's headquarters. And on the passenger side, we've got Chicago, where the Explorer is assembled. Up on the dash, we've got a little outline of the 6th Gen Explorer. And down by the passenger's legs, we've got a nod to the previous 5 gens. It's really quite a nice interior, especially in this Platinum trim level. I do kind of wish you could get the black leather with the captain's chairs, because I think my kids and my dog would destroy this, but at least you can get the black Active X in the ST and ST line. And while there are a couple of glossy black exceptions, most of the interior here is really very nice. The driving experience is going to be largely the same, but the big difference now is you can get Ford's hands-free system, BlueCruise. This Platinum comes standard with it, and it's optional on the ST and ST line. You get a 1-year subscription included. I hate the subscription model for this, but Chevy's Super Cruise is also a subscription service, so you're kind of stuck with it. It's worked quite well in ideal conditions, but I've had a couple of issues with this system. So it's kept me centered in the lane well and modulated my speed very well. The whole screen goes blue and it's good to go, and it turns black and gives you a notification when you need to take over. But my commute to work is essentially like straight into the sun, and it's constantly yelling at me to watch the road even when I'm looking straight ahead. I don't have that problem in other conditions, so I don't know if it's the sensors or the fact that I'm squinting, not entirely sure. And supposedly it's supposed to change lanes for you when you hit your turn signal. I double and triple checked all my settings. I made sure that the software is up to date, and I cannot seem to get that to work, so I'm not really entirely sure what's going on there. Just a quick note about my BlueCruise lane change assist issues. So I mentioned that I was having problems to Ford. Brought the vehicle in for service. Noticed there were some error codes in there, likely due to a blocked camera during the wintry mix that we had. They cleared out the error code, so that should fix the issue. They also said that the codes should have eventually sort of reset themselves, but I still find it kind of strange that there was no indication that anything was wrong and that they still hadn't reset themselves by the end of the week. It had been a few days at least. Still a little bit of an odd thing and a little bit unfortunate that I didn't get to fully test out the lane change, but just wanted to give a quick update on that. And supposedly automatic lane change is coming on the horizon where you don't even have to hit your turn signal. It'll make the decisions of when to change lanes for you. I'm sure you'll be able to turn that off, but that's the way Super Cruise works now, and that will be a great update. At this particular point in time, I prefer the Super Cruise system just because it does a good job with the lane changing and the light and the steering wheel, in addition to the messages in the cluster. Do a really good job of communication of when it's going to take over, when it needs you to take over, and when it's sort of trying to find its spot. This one is a little bit more black and white. The BlueCruise system is a little bit more black and white. It's still a good system. I would still rather have BlueCruise than not have it, and I'm interested to see how this evolves over the next couple of years. Outside of that, you have Ford Copilot 360 Assist Plus as standard, and everything above the base model is going to get you the Assist 2.0. So you get blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise, lane keep, evasive steering. All of that is standard. And then in the 2.0, the top 3 trims here, you get the reverse brake assist, intersection assist, and a 360 camera and more. The rest of the driving experience is pretty cushy. It rides really nicely. It's smooth. It's comfortable. It's quiet for the most part. When you put your foot into it, engine noise does get a little bit loud, but it's not drony. It's not necessarily a bad sound if you like engine noise. It's quick in sport mode, as you'd expect it to be, 300 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. But normal mode leaves a little bit of something to be desired. A little bit of it is throttle delay, but most of it seems to be the transmission choices. It's especially shows its head when you're trying to do a quick merge on the highway or trying to come out of a turn quickly to hit a gap. But again, sport mode fixes all of those problems, so it's not necessarily an issue with the powertrain. It's more of just a tuning thing. There are also some other driving modes if you find yourself towing and hauling, driving on sand or on slippery surfaces. Those will adjust the things I mentioned, the transmission shift points and the throttle response, as well as how your four-wheel drive system decides to split the torque. Visibility all around is quite good. I'm really surprised by it, actually. I didn't realize how big this car was until I looked it up, because the visibility is pretty good, especially if you have those rear headrests down. You can see out the back totally fine. The flat sides mean I have great visibility out the side mirrors as well, and I have a commanding view of the road out front. Now, I wouldn't say no to a digital mirror, especially if I had people riding in the back quite often, or if I had the bench seat and people riding in the middle a lot of the time. But as it is, I'm impressed. At the end of the day, I'm a little bit torn on this one. Not the biggest fan of the way it drives in normal mode. I had quite a few little naggy issues that hopefully aren't indicative of bigger problems. If you're using the third row for full-sized humans, then that higher back floor is going to make it feel smaller and more cramped than even the much smaller Santa Fe that I was in last week. Not that either one is great for regular-sized humans, but if you're using that rear area mostly for pets or stuff, then that's not going to be an issue. It drives quite well in sport mode and is really quite a cushy place to be for the commute, especially here in platinum trim level. If you're looking for a big 3-row, but you're still kind of torn like I am, check out my Hyundai Santa Fe video. I've got a Hyundai Palisade, Kia Telluride, and next week I'll have the Chevy Traverse, so stick around for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.